If you've been looking into open earbuds, I think this is the real question. Can they actually replace your normal in-ear earbuds? Because that's really what matters. Whether they make enough sense in real life to become the pair you actually use. Forget the specs. Can these replace my everyday earbuds? That's exactly what I wanted to figure out. Not whether they sound impressive on paper, whether they hold up in everyday life. Calls, walking around, loud spaces. So I wore them every day for 2 weeks. Mornings, calls, commuting, coffee shops. I'm going to walk you through what I found, what works, what I had to adjust to, and if this would make sense for you. If these get annoying after an hour, nothing else matters. To me, comfort is the main reason this category even has a chance. Because if regular earbuds have never bothered you, open ear might not even feel necessary. But if you're someone who starts noticing your earbuds after a while, or you keep adjusting them, or your ears just feel done before you are, that's where something like the Aero Fit 2 starts making a lot more sense. That was the first thing that stood out to me. They don't give you the same in-ear pressure because they're not trying to force that kind of fit in the first place. So the whole experience just feels easier. Not magical, not life-changing in some dramatic way, just easier. And honestly, that might be the best thing I can say about them. But comfort only matters if they still work once glasses get involved. This is one of the first things I'd worry about too. If you wear glasses, open earbuds look like they should be a problem. It looks like too many things trying to sit on the same part of your ear, so I paid a lot of attention to that. And the good news is, they're less awkward than they look. You do notice the setup at first. I don't want to act like it feels invisible right away, but it settles down pretty quickly, and it ends up feeling more normal than expected. So if the glasses are the reason you've been hesitant to try open earbuds, I actually think this is one of the better arguments in their favor. They're more practical than they look. And once that part starts making sense, the next question gets a lot more serious. What about sound leakage? This is where I think a lot of people want a straight answer. Yes, open earbuds leak sound. That's just part of the deal. So I don't think the useful question is, do they leak? The useful question is, do they leak enough to be a problem for how I actually use the earbuds? And that's where the answer gets more practical. At more normal listening levels, I think the Aero Fit 2 makes a lot more sense than people assume. Once you start pushing the volume though, that's where the trade-off becomes more obvious. So I would not think of these as the pair you buy for quiet spaces and when you want privacy at high volume. That's just not really their strength. But if the point is awareness, convenience, and more comfortable everyday listening, then the leakage trade-off makes more sense in context. And to me, that's really how you have to judge these, not as private earbuds, as open earbuds. Calls matter because this is where a product stops being interesting and starts becoming useful. A lot of earbuds are fine until real life shows up. Noise, movement, wind, normal everyday stuff. That's the test. And I think the Aero Fit 2 are pretty easy to understand here. For regular everyday calls, they do the job. Indoors, they're totally usable. Outside, they still work, but that's where you start seeing limits more clearly. So I wouldn't use these as some amazing call-first earbud. But if your question is, can I take normal calls on these and not feel like I'm compromising the whole experience? Then yeah, I think that's fair. The Aero Fit 2 are not for everyone. And honestly, that's a good thing. They make the most sense for someone who is specifically tired of what in-ear earbuds do. If your ears get sore, if you hate that plugged up feeling, if you want to stay more aware of the world around you, if you wear glasses and we're worried this whole category would be awkward, that's where these start to make a real case. That's the audience. And that brings us back to the original question. So can open earbuds replace in-ear earbuds? I think for the right person, yes. If your current earbuds already work perfectly for you, then this might not feel necessary. But if you've been curious about open ear because regular earbuds keep getting uncomfortable, annoying, or too isolating, then yeah, I think the AeroFit 2 give a pretty good explanation for why this category exists in the first place. And more importantly, they show you who it's actually for. If your ears are tired of regular earbuds, this is probably the clearest reason why to try open ear.